Hey there everybody, it's Lance with Love to Hate, back again with another video and my series of short gamer thoughts from BGG Con. This is my series of videos on some games that I played while at BGG Con, and in this video I'm going to be looking at Raccoon Robbers. This is from Klaus-Jürgen Wiede, and Pegasus Spiele is the publisher for this. 2 to 4 players, 20 to 30 minutes, ages 8 and up. The theme for this game is that you control a gang of raccoons that have taken over this city, and you are trying to help your gang boss to get to the golden trash can first. That's right, it's all about getting to that golden trash can. And that golden trash can is there on the bottom left of your screen. As you can see, there's two different things going on with this setup. You have the 3D printed boards, the houses up at the top of the player space here, and then you have a trail of tiles leading to the golden trash can there at the bottom. And this is ultimately a race game, but some of the other mechanics that are at play here, you have some cards, so there is some hand management going on. There's a little bit of take that and push your luck in this as well. How a turn is going to work, you have cards and you're going to be drawing cards from a central deck, and with those cards you are going to be playing them to move your minion raccoons up one of the different buildings. You can see there's a blue building, a green building, and a red building, and there are cards that are blue, green, and red with arrows on them that move you up 1 or maybe 2 spaces if you are the last place raccoon on that particular building. You can play cards to move yourself up the number of spaces up the building, and the spaces are, these buildings are dual layered boards, and as you can see, they're elevated to give it some 3D elements to it, but you slot your raccoon in the cutout for that, and some spaces only allow for 1 raccoon to be, while others allow all of the players to be on them. But most spaces only allow 1 raccoon, and whenever you move to a spot that another person is already at, and it's only a spot big enough for 1 person, you bump that person down a spot. And if there's somebody there, then they bump that person down, and so on and so forth. So there's the take that in this game, but there's also down arrow cards that you can play on your turn, and you would play those in addition to your up arrows. You move your raccoon up with the up arrows, you move other people's raccoons down with the down arrows. Pretty straightforward game here. Now, the other thing you might do on your turn is cause your raccoon to jump off the building. No, you're not committing suicide, but for some odd reason, by jumping off the building, it causes your boss, your gang boss, your big raccoon, to move forward on that track towards the golden trash can. And I guess the theme here is that the higher up in the building, the more valuable things your minion is robbing from this building. And so you've got loot and you're jumping off the building, getting out of the building and running away with the loot, I suppose. And as you get higher up on the buildings, the further your gang boss will move down that track. And the track for the gang boss works very similar to the buildings in the sense that you can see that there are tiles that are small and only big enough for 1 raccoon, and then there are bigger tiles where multiple gang bosses can be. And if you ever land on a gang boss that is on a smaller tile, then you will bump them back just like the buildings work. So there's some take that in that track as well. And that's pretty much the game. It's a race to get your gang boss to that golden trash can, and that's it. So what do I think about this game? Well, there's some really good things about it in the sense that it will draw some people who don't typically play board games to the table, which is what we're all about here on Love to Hate, helping to find games that work well between gamers and non-gamers. And because it has that 3D table element, a table presence element to this game, I think that would draw some people to it because it's not your typical board game. In fact, there are no boards. You have the buildings, so I guess that's a board, but you have the tiles, which are really a race track as well. So it gives this kind of nice, unique feel to what it looks like on the table. I do enjoy the theme of this game too. While the mechanics don't really seem to have anything to do with the theme, or I'm struggling to put together how the mechanics bring out the theme itself is still really humorous. It's enjoyable controlling this gang of raccoons, and you want your gang boss to get to the golden trash can. I mean, that's hilarious. And so that humor will bring out some people to the table as well. And this game is light enough that I think you can play with your kids, you can play with your family. Your family members who don't typically play a whole lot of board games, I think would get a kick out of this particular game. And it's easy and straightforward for everybody to understand. Now, that being said, this game is probably too straightforward and too simplistic for most gamers. And I found myself about halfway through my experience in this game that you're watching, feeling like the game was getting a bit repetitive, a bit stale. It went a little bit too long for my liking. I would like a shorter track or maybe a fourth building, or I don't know what to add to that, but it just felt like it was a little bit stale. And it feels like it goes a little bit back and forth, especially on those buildings. And what I mean by that is that you will move your raccoon up, and then somebody will move their raccoon up. And then you'll move your raccoon up, and maybe you bump them down, and then they'll move their raccoon up. And it just seems to kind of go back and forth, back and forth. I would enjoy a little bit more to this game. Maybe having a market from which you can draft your cards from would be a good idea. Plus, that would cut back on the luck of the draw from drawing from a central deck. Maybe have some spaces on the buildings that cause actions to happen or incentivize wanting your raccoon to land on certain spaces more than others. I know that adds a little bit more thinking to the game, but that little bit more thinking and strategizing would keep gamers invested in the game. And then lastly, my con on this one too is with the Take That, it kind of goes against the nature of who I feel like this game is geared towards, that being casual and non-gamers or families. Take That just seems so cheap and it leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth. And this happens quite a bit in this game, and it can really crush somebody. You can get your raccoon all the way up to the top on one turn, be geared up, ready to go to jump off that building on the next turn, but in the meantime, somebody knocks you down, and it can be pretty devastating. So all in all, I did somewhat enjoy this game, but it just didn't really fulfill what I was hoping it would. I know I'm probably not the target audience with this, but I game a lot with non-gamers, and so in a sense, I am still the target audience, and it just didn't really connect too well with me. I give this game a 6.2. I know that it has a target audience out there for it, and maybe they would enjoy this a bit better than I did, but for me, it's just one that didn't really hit the mark for me. And there you have it. That's my thoughts on Raccoon Robbers. It's from Pegasus Spiele. Leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you think of this game. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified of all of our great new content. I'm Lance, and this is Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.